Let's hit it. And welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I'm your host, Lori LeBay, and I'm so excited that you're joining us today. We are going to have a fascinating conversation as usual as we learn from people all around the world at all ages and stages of life. Stay tuned as we shift our dementia care from crisis to comfort. All right, here we go. What you think about, you will bring about. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. If you enjoyed our opening music, it's called Clarion Call by the Mark Arneson Band, and you can download that on any of your favorite music platforms. The lead singer there is Maya Dore. She just does a wonderful, wonderful job. And for those of you that are new to Alzheimer Speaks Radio, we're about sound information, not just sound bites. Our goal is truly to raise all voices, big and small, all around the world. So that includes people diagnosed and living with dementia, those that care and serve for them, advocates, researchers, and so much more. Now, today you can join the conversation if you'd like by calling in at 323-870-4602. That's 323-870-4602. And we're going to be talking about what makes an exceptional memory care. And I'm so thrilled that we have Artis Senior Living with us to speak to their work and their philosophies. But before I introduce you to our guests, I always like to do a few shout-outs. So first, I need to thank you, our listeners. Your loyalty, your likes, your clicks, and shares have just broadened our footprint all around the world. And so I can't thank you enough. And I can't thank you for many of you being guests on the show. So I hope that you'll continue to push our content out to Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and all the other social media platforms out there, because we all have people in our spheres that are dealing with dementia that just might not be ready to talk about it quite yet. And we have to make it comfortable for people. We have to make it available so that they have the information when they need us. I also want to give a shout out to Coral Health. During this time of crisis with the coronavirus, Coral Health has stepped up in the fight against dementia and also COVID-19, and they are offering their clinically proven streaming services for Music First and Coral Faith free. So just go to Coral Health, that's CORO Health.com, to learn more information about that. And I also want to mention a trial for Alzheimer's out there. It's called the GAIN Alzheimer's Trial. And you can just go to GAIN, GAIN, trial, TRIAL.com/EN. And this trial is for people 55 to 80 who are diagnosed with Alzheimer's and that they have moderate to mild disease, and that they have a caregiver or a family member willing to attend study visits and help do some reporting and kind of monitor medications and things. And last, I just want to note a couple of events coming up. One is actually with Artis Senior Living of Woodbury, Minnesota. On Thursday, actually, I'm going to be doing a program for them called Understanding and Evaluating the Benefits of Memory Care for Your Family. So feel free to join us on that. You can find more information by going to Artis Senior Living, or you can also go to alzheimerspeaks.com. And then on the 23rd of July, I will be doing another virtual program called Caregiver Survival Camp. And that is through the Artist Way of Yardley out east. And again, we would love to have you attend any of those. So with no further ado, let me go ahead and introduce our guest today. I'm really excited to have this group of ladies with us because this company is really doing something amazing. And again, it's Artis Senior Living. first I want to introduce Ruth Hjelmgren, and she has a background in sales, and she is part of the leadership in human services as well. She's the director of relations at Artis Senior Living Memory Care Residence, which is in Woodbury, Minnesota. So welcome, Ruth. How are you doing today?
I'm excellent. Thank you very much. It's community relations at Artis Senior Living.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said that wrong.
That's
Thank
okay.
You.
No worries.
Nope. Thanks for correcting me. I'm having
No
one
worries.
of those days here where everything that could go hanky has gone hanky. So appreciate it. Next, let me go ahead and introduce Mollie Lund. Mollie is a practicing licensed social worker for over 25 years. And she's worked in the field of aging, and she is the director of the Artis Experience. So welcome, Mollie. How are you?
Hi, thanks, Lori, for having us. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing better now that I'm hooked up with you gals. I know my day's gonna go better already. So wonderful. Well, let me go ahead and pull Jenessa Cahow in, and she is a registered nurse and has spent her career working in senior health care. And she is the Health and Wellness Director at Artis Senior Living. So welcome, Jenessa.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Well, good. I always like to ask everybody who's on the show one simple question. And Jenessa, I'm going to start with you first. And that is, have you been touched personally in your own circle of family or friends by any form of dementia?
I have. Both of my grandfathers.
Oh, okay. And how involved were you in that process of care with them? Are they? I don't know, if they are still living or not. But I'm just wondering how that impacted you in your life.
They have both passed away, but I took care of one of them at home until the very end, and the other one was at the VA.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that. And Mollie, how about you? Have you been personally touched by dementia in your family or circle of friends?
I have. Both of my grandmothers and my own father had started to show symptoms when he died of esophageal cancer, and we did an autopsy and confirmed he did have Alzheimer's.
Okay. Well, that's really close to home then for you. So
very much so, yeah.
And how do you think that's impacted your life?
Well, I had a calling to work with people with dementia before any of that. So I feel that working with people who have dementia only helped me support my family, not as a professional, but as a family member.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wonderful. And then, Ruth, how about you? Have you been personally touched in your own family or circle of friends by dementia?
For sure. And unlike Mollie, who has been practicing in this field for many years, I had not been, but my mom had been diagnosed about 10 years ago with Lewy body. She's been gone about 6.5 years. But it was a really challenging diagnosis, and it affected how I saw things and how I saw folks navigating this part of life. And I will say, as sad as it was to watch her diminish before our very eyes, there were some amazing moments that lightened my heart and gave me memories I'll cherish forever, even in the last few days of her life. So I feel really blessed having walked through that on that path, and then it really tugged on my heart to look into working with seniors. So that's kind of how I got pulled in.
Okay, wonderful.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, I have to do a shout out to my mom too, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without her 30-year journey behind me, that's for sure. Now, Ruth, I wanted to start with you because I thought it might make sense even just to talk about what makes a freestanding memory care different from senior living and like a continuum of care.
That's such a great question. I appreciate that. You know, there are the differences are pretty they're pretty stark. We can, as a brand new community in the state of Minnesota, Artis is new to this state, we can really focus on the mission of caring for folks that are having dementia, Alzheimer's, memory issues, memory loss. And that in itself is a huge gift. We don't have to diversify our resources. We don't have to diversify our staff. We are completely focused on those with these particular needs and issues. So that alone, I think, is a really powerful piece. So that's my answer to the why it's a powerful way to have your family feel that care and that nourishment that's very specific to residents that live with us.
Okay, great. Now, we hear people talk about intentional design and decor, and I know that that's something Artis does really well. Can you tell us what that means in your community and how it differentiates from others out there?
Well, it's because we're freestanding and our focus is those only with dementia or memory loss. We are. It starts right from the architectural standpoint. So when they're building a building, they're looking at what is going to be the best format for people of varying types of dementia to navigate in that environment. So our building is built like an H with a circle in the middle, and we have 64 suites, and each of the legs of the H are what we call a different neighborhood. And they have a little bit of different design in each one. So it's almost like if you go from one to the other, you're going to a different town or city. And it's really cool because then people feel like if they do move about the building, which they have free ability to do that, then they have a sense of going places, which is really good for people who may feel confined. We are a secured building. We are sitting on a large piece of acreage, so 4.5 acres with a very large gated backyard. And so that gives people an opportunity to be outside, to enjoy the weather, to play games, to have activities, to eat, to have picnics and barbecues, and just go for walks because we have very nice walking paths. That being said, when we talk about intentional design and decor, again, each neighborhood is designed a little bit differently, and overall, the design has been done in a way that is on the cutting edge of what is most appropriate for those that are living with dementia or memory loss and Alzheimer's. So the colors are muted. Some of the colors, there's good differences between the floors so people can see when you move from carpet to tile. Some of the things that you don't even think about, from the artwork to the dishes, to the silverware, to the carpeting, to the wall color, all of it addresses the needs that are going to be a part of what folks may be having when they're experiencing dementia.
Okay, I think that is so critically important. I know when I was in real estate, I used to do a lot of design work and took a lot of classes on that, and I was shocked at what impacts what, from the type of lighting to even, people in the old days, carpet used to roll up the side of the wall, and people would walk into the walls because they didn't know the floor ended and the wall began. And so
right.
having those differentiations are huge. And I remember, at every artist community I've gone to, the beautiful dishware that you have and the table settings, and so they're distinct, and you can see the plates and you can see the food that's on them, and the edging and the design of just furniture for ease of getting in and out of, and it truly is amazing. And I think more families need to be educated on that. And again, not every community does that. There's a lot of, what I think a lot of families would say is cookie cutter, buildings out there that, well, this guy did it, so we're just going to build it over here. But no, if you're not educated as to why it's being built the way it is, or why you have the services that you have and the techniques and the tools, it loses a lot when that knowledge isn't there, when staff don't know that, and I think families underappreciate things too because they don't know the value of those whys
right.
and the importance of it. So I think
they see the beautiful building, and they, that's a wonderful, but the intention behind all of it is very specific.
Exactly. Who exactly are your residents? And what kind of stage are you in? I know people use all different kinds of words and stages to describe that, but do your best at trying to tell us who your ideal clients are.
Okay. Well, I think we can appropriately care for folks that are experiencing early stage. If there are some potential, I hate to use the word behaviors, or things that are not fitting in well at their own home, or if there is no one to care for them, we have a beautiful environment to care for those that are really on the early stages, as well as folks that may be further into their journey of dementia. And so we really do care for the people across the spectrum. We are excited to welcome all levels, and care for people through end of life when we can.
Okay, wonderful. And when you talk about, behaviors is such a typical term, I think, that everybody uses out there, and yet I know Artis works really hard at trying to kind of shift terminology in terms
right.
of, instead of calling it a behavior, calling it a reaction, and using it as a signal or a clue that something else is wrong in life. And
right. And it's our job to figure out what that is.
Exactly.
And as a staff and as a caregiving or care partners, to determine, okay, so what is it that we're not getting? Let's dig down. What is the root cause of this, so we can help alleviate it and help that person move forward.
Exactly. And I think, again, that's something when you communicate that and explain that to families, I mean, when you have that philosophy, it just changes everything in terms of how you're looking at something. It goes from a kind of a blame and a shame to an empowerment thing of how do we fix this? How do we work together? How do we make it better for this person? Which I truly
it goes right back. Exactly. It goes right back to our mission, the Artis way.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of the Artis way, I want to pull in Mollie here next, since she is the director of experience there. So, Mollie, for you, I want you to explain what the heck is the Artis way. What does that mean in everyday work?
Thank you, Lori. Let me tell you that it's actually really fun for me to explain, because Artis is my core values of who I am. So people have asked me, what is artist or artist? Like, what is that? Where are they from? And I said, well, what's really interesting is that artist is actually an acronym. And the acronym reflects our values, not only as the community, but as the company culture. So the A in artist stands for the ability to have a voice. And that goes for our residents, it goes for our family members, the loved ones, and it goes for our associates as well. And it's having a voice in what do you like to do? What do you want to wear today? What kind of vending machine should we get in the employee break room? Everybody has an equal voice and the ability to be heard. The R in artist stands for respecting and maintaining relationships. We really value the residents' relationships with their family members, their loved ones, and we want to help them keep those relationships. One of the things that has been a struggle with COVID is the in-person visits, as we know. It's been all over the media, and we have to we have to work diligently to keep those relationships maintained. And we do these things with technology. I won't get, that's just a lot to say. I could talk about that for just an hour myself. But we want to respect their current relationships that we want them to maintain, and with our staff as well. The T, so ART, stands for treasuring each individual's uniqueness, and truly not just the residents, but our staff as well, that we are all different. We all have different experiences that we bring. We can all learn from each other. We have a lot to offer as individuals. And the I stands, my favorite because it's the shortest one. I stands for integrity. Artis is very passionate about integrity, and as well as I am. And I like to tell people, if you want to know what integrity is, it's how you behave when no one is looking. And that will tell you what your moral compass registers. And then so the S in Artis is about success and recognition. And we want to celebrate those successes. Again, not only just about the resident successes, but it's also about our employee successes. The rewards sometimes are just getting a smile out of somebody who was maybe having a rough morning, or getting a staff to laugh at a joke, or just sharing with each other and recognizing our successes, big or small.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's Artis. I told you I could talk a long time.
Well, no, and I get it. And when people ask me too about Artis, it's like, well, I don't get the name. But when you say what the acronym stands for, it is really relationship based on all levels. And I love the inclusion and the acceptance and, just the recognition too of everyone. I think that is so very, very important. We talk so much these days. We use words like person-centered care. And to me, I don't care for that phrase because I think it's overused and under-delivered. But, I've had the opportunity to travel around the country to different Artis senior livings, and I've been amazed at, the team philosophy, the cohesiveness, the kindness and appreciation of the residents. It really feels more like a family setting than a community. Everyone is so gracious, and I don't feel like it's staged. I feel like that's just the authentic way of the community itself, and to me that's huge. That's a huge differentiator. How is Artis managing kind of the resident and the family relationships during COVID-19? Because this is a tough one, and I know many are struggling with that. But it's been fun to see all of the unique ways that people are connecting as well.
It is, and challenging, and it's hard to explain to somebody who it might be in early to mid-stage dementia about social distancing. So really what we do is the best that we can. Artis has some pretty rigorous protocols because they want to keep the residents and staff safe. Our people who want to move in. We've had our first, we've opened our doors now. So when somebody moves in, we actually will receive their belongings 2 to 3 days before they move in, and we actually have a special filter that we use for 24 hours that would take care of if there's any active virus. And then we do have our residents or the potential resident, we have them test for COVID, make sure that they test negative. We are testing our staff for COVID to make sure they're testing negative. We have a lot of the protective equipment in place, wearing gloves, masks, goggles, gowns if needed, and that's the medical part. But we also want to nurture the relationship part, and we're doing phone calls with families, lots of phone calls. FaceTime has been, I don't know about anybody else, but I am very grateful for FaceTime, and I'm also grateful for Zoom. These are two things that I really didn't expect to become in my wheelhouse, and they have. So we're using technology as much as we can to maximize our connections with the families and loved ones. So again, with the FaceTime and the Zoom, we have implemented Zoom visits with doctors, and that's working out really well. And we have done a lot of emails, a lot of taking pictures, and window visits. We're watching the governor. We're watching real closely to see what recommendations are for visitations and loosening up those visits. But we have to also keep our current residents and staff safe.
Yep. Yeah, and I think people, as much as it's difficult, and I've had a couple of friends who are going through this with their own parents, and they're just saying, it's such a relief, like when they get that window visit, or when they can do a Zoom or a FaceTime, or hear their voice, or they just get a picture sent, and it just changes their whole day, because they worry about them, even when they think they're not worried about them. It's just this unconscious heaviness, in the background. And so it's important to, for communities to really embrace and help feed and maintain those connections as much as possible. Now, another, I think, differentiating feature of Artis is their commitment to employee engagement and morale. And, again, I can say from traveling around the country, I see that as one of the biggest holes in companies that they're struggling with right now, is trying to, A, have enough staff, and then B, keep the morale up, keep people engaged, and so that they want to stick around. So how the heck are you guys doing that?
So I'm just going to tell you, there is no secret recipe to it, but maybe there is a little bit. So just to give an overall idea about my position exactly, I have a very unique position. My position at Artis, so the director of the Artis Way experience, which is kind of a full mouth when you say it. And people say, well, what does that mean? And I say, well, I'm going to tell you that I'm here to help families navigate the whole process. And I'm here as a resource. I'm here as a liaison. I happen to be a licensed social worker, but I wasn't required to be a social worker for this role. It's just kind of a perk. So I'm helping the families, the residents, the loved ones, and navigate the whole senior housing piece and the memory care piece, because it's always an adjustment for everybody. Mm-hmm. But the other side of my job responsibility is the employee engagement and morale. I look at myself as a culture keeper, and I've been in this industry, we'll just say 2+ decades, and I've seen the toxic environments, and everybody, the grass is always greener, that grass isn't greener, and Artis was very attractive because of the fact that my position even exists. My position is not required by law in any state in the United States, and that Artis foresees it being such a critical position just made me know that this is the company that does business the way that I would want to do business, that matches my morals and my values. So they start off not only by having somebody who spearheads engagement. But it starts off with a hiring process, really. And no matter what department is hiring, I am a partner with that department director as far as all of the interviews go, because I want to make sure that the potential employee is in it for the right reason. And I just somehow know when somebody has the heart, and it is a calling to work with dementia people. And so we started with the interview process, and then we started during orientation from day one. We talk about the expectations, and we talk about the critical part of communication and why are we here. And we talk to our staff. We want to hire like-minded people. And so it's been very interesting for me to watch our just amazing, stellar employees refer only the people they think could do as good of a job as they do. I've had staff say that I've got good friends, but I'm not going to I'm not going to stamp my name on them. And others super excited to recruit employees like themselves. I think that setting up that culture right away is just only setting us up for success. We do a lot of training, ongoing training, a lot of support. We have a very robust employee assistance program. That's a perk of being an employee with Artis that we do a really intense training on. Usually when someone starts in healthcare, you might get a little piece of paper from HR when you're doing your paperwork that says, oh, here, this is our EAP information. We actually do a 40-minute presentation on our employee assistance program because we want our staff to know we are here for them, we are here to support them, and that this is a perk for them.
Wow. Well, and I like that you're kind of overseeing some of that, or part of, I should say. You don't want to take anything away from other department heads. The hiring process, because you have your ear and your hands on the pulse of the company culture, and if you can defer, or read something out that might be a toxic fit in the long haul and not align, because I've seen so many companies that will keep a toxic employee and then all their good ones leave. And, it's amazing how much that happens. And that's not just in healthcare. That's all over.
That's everywhere, right?
There's a fear of letting somebody go, and are you going to get sued and all of that stuff. So being smart on the front end, I think, is very, very important. Plus, it's such a big differentiator, once again, in terms of those people who are applying. They're going to see that difference. They're going to feel that difference, just like you have, and so many others, within the company, because it isn't a common denominator out there, even though we'd like to think that it is, and that people, are thought to believe that it is. And like I said, I've just been really very, very impressed with the company as a whole and how they work and treat not only the residents, but the family and the staff. I mean, it truly has this team, or this extended family feel. I call it personally family by choice, where everyone is in it together, and they get to pick their family, and that's a really, really big decision to make. Anything else that you wanted to add that I didn't cover regarding your position and the Artis way and what it would mean to our audience?
Well, just one more thing. The piece that's really big here is we also have what's called a Positive Partner of the Month program, and some other areas you might hear Employee of the Month. But that just reminds me to talk about, I'll try to make it quick because I can be long-winded, how Artis we even have our own language. And, things like our care partners. In other areas, you'll hear them be referred to as home health aides or CNAs or caregivers. And we truly, very thoughtfully, their title is care partner because they are partners in this care journey for the resident, with the nursing department, with the families, with the other caregivers outside, if it's a family member or a loved one. We're all here together. And, like I said, Artis has their own language, even down to the title that everybody has. There's a lot of meaning and a lot of thought that went into it. And I do want to say that we are recruiting people for artists that have to have the calling and the heart. But I always like to say, if you're doing what you love, you don't work a day in your life. And that's how I can speak for our whole team here. We all feel that way. It's amazing. It's an amazing place.
Now, when you talk about, a person who likes doing this, what if it's somebody who is new, and they haven't walked in this, but they just feel that it's a calling? I would imagine you're open to new people, or maybe even someone who's, retired or working, part-time, that's doing a shift. They're just reevaluating what they want to do with their life and how they want to do it. I would imagine you're open to those parties as well.
Wide open, Lori. You know what? You can teach policies, you can teach procedures, you can teach tasks, but you can't teach heart. And I'm going to tell you that we've interviewed staff or potential employees who've had decades of experience that I know didn't have the heart, and we pass on them as candidates. And especially in this time of challenges with staffing, we have said no to several people. But I recruited somebody who worked at a fast food restaurant because she had such amazing heart and people skills that I just knew she'd be successful. So no, you do not have to have experience. If you have the gift of heart and the calling and the passion to serve seniors that suffer from dementia, seriously, give us a call.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes, because the slate is clean, sometimes when you get people from other companies too, we always did it this way, so sometimes it's easier to train somebody fresh as well too, if they're not looking for something new, if they're just looking for another job, because that's what they've always done. And it's funny, in all industries, there's a lot of people just looking for that job that they had, just like what they had. And the company here is different, and it's different for a reason. And I think that's a very important factor.
Exactly. Yeah. We're not looking for just a warm body. We are actively getting people who are engaged and want to do things the right way.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Mollie. I'm going to hop over to Jenessa and got a few questions for her. So, Jenessa, now you're in charge of health and wellness. What are you doing to keep? What are you doing to keep the residents, safe and healthy, especially during this time of COVID? Are you doing things differently as well? I know Mollie had mentioned a few things.
Well, and it can definitely tell Mollie and I work together because we have a lot of the same answers. So during the time of COVID, all of our residents do get their temperatures checked every shift, more if they're just kind of not acting like themselves. Our staff get their temperature checked every morning and fill out a questionnaire just to make sure we're not bringing anything in. And then the residents also, it's a temperature check every morning. The upside of it is it does help us catch any signs of, illness faster. So maybe that early sign of a UTI. So I think we should look at it. Yes, COVID needs to kind of teeter out now, but at least we can try and catch things early.
Yeah. Can you, for some of our audience members, they might not know what a UTI is, and I have no idea what the impact of a UTI is, and until my mom got one, and it was like, oh, it can't be that. And it was like, sure as heck it was. So maybe tell them what it is, and then some of the effects that it can have that wouldn't maybe have on the rest of us.
Absolutely. So a UTI is what most of us would know as a bladder infection. And the reason why we want to try and catch that early and watch very closely for that is as we age, we don't necessarily have the same signs or symptoms. And the biggest thing that it can cause is it can cause a low-grade temp, and then it can also cause a lot of confusion. It can kind of cause falls. It can cause dehydration. So the reason I'm going to say it helps us to maybe catch that a little early is bladder.
Oh, are you still there?
Hear me?
Jenessa,
No.
are you there? Okay, I think you're back. You're kind of crackling out there. Are you still
Technology.
there? Yep, at its
Yes.
finest and at its worst, it all shows. So, but life must go on. So let's just continue here.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Where was the last part you heard?
So why don't you just start explaining what the UTI is? Because it was right about there. It just kind of went in and out and all over the board.
Well, I apologize for that. So a UTI is what we more commonly know as a bladder infection. And while they're uncomfortable for you and I, they affect our seniors a little bit different. They cause more confusion. They can cause dehydration. They can just make somebody very tired, not feel well, all of which can kind of start a change in someone. So the sooner we can catch it, the sooner we can take care of it, the more we can prevent it, the safer and the happier our seniors and our residents can be.
Oh, for sure. I remember when my mom had one, and I thought they were overdosing her on her medications because, I mean, she couldn't hold her head up. Her eyes were rolling back in her head, and they're like, oh, it's probably a UTI. And I was like, no way, is that a UTI? And they like, Lord, we're pretty sure it is because we know we haven't been over-medicating her. And sure as heck. And I've heard so many bizarre things in terms of people's reactions, in terms of if they know who somebody is or if they're feeling threatened. The list kind of goes on and on and on. So families really need to, listen up and pay attention if there's changes in a person's reaction, and really notify the nursing department there and the staff because you want to hit that off before it goes too far.
Something so common can be so scary.
Yeah. I just never imagined. I mean, I really thought they were lying to me and trying to cover up. I mean, that was my initial reaction. It was just like, that's impossible. That's because I'm thinking that's not how it affects me at all. Nothing like that. So, but yeah, it is different, and it is important that people understand that and know that, and that is so important, especially for staff in a community to understand and be able to look for signs like that before things get out of hand as well. What makes Artis or the care at Artis different? Probably worked at other places, and what are you seeing that's different?
It, as Mollie said, it starts with that interview process. Again, as Mollie said, we can teach how to do something. I can't teach the heart. I can't teach you to have a passion for it. But so once we find that right fit for our care partners and our nurses, then it's a very in-depth training that they go through. And it's not just the rules and the regulations and the stuff that we have to teach. It's how to teach that so that we can truly tailor a resident's service plan, which tells the staff how to care for somebody to their true individual likes, dislikes. Heck, if you put me in a dress, I'm not going to be very happy with you. So that would be included in there. Our goal with Artis really is we don't want to tell our residents no. We want to say yes if at all possible. So if it's 20 degrees out and we have a resident that really wants to go outside, we are going to bundle them up, we're going to bundle us up, and we're going to take them outside. We want to see that smile. We want the resident to feel that sense of accomplishment. Hey, I did that. No matter how big or how small that is, everything is set up and tailored to help that resident succeed.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, do you see any differences in terms of how Artis communicates with family? Because I know, family's been mentioned as part of this team, and sometimes I think families can feel left out. They'll be talked to and learn what's going on, maybe at a quarterly review or something. Do you see any differences in terms of how Artis wants to and is communicating with family?
Absolutely. We have empowered every nurse, every care partner to call a family member with good news, not just bad news. So, if we have a resident who's having a great day and they've been able to do something that they've been trying to and maybe struggled with, we're going to call that family and just say, I just wanted to let you know your loved one is having a great day. They were able to, get that puzzle together that they've been working on. So we want to make sure that the family is just as involved as they want to be, and maybe they just can't take care of their loved one. Or, let's face it, you need to work. So we we will email also. We'll kind of just communicate however it's easiest and most convenient for the family. Mm-hmm. But the goal is definitely that they don't just hear bad things or, the problems or the declines. They're going to hear all the good things too.
See, and I think that's so critical. I have that. The program I have, Family by Choice, really talks about that and the importance because, I was on that other end, and it's like when you see the phone ring and it's the community and your heart drops instead of thinking, it could be something good, or getting those joyful messages or a video or a picture or whatever it is. Those are things families go back and they look at more than once. They share with other people. They're proud. It can shift their whole day versus, we gave the wrong med, somebody fell, somebody got hurt, all of those things. It's just it doesn't build that positive trust level that you need if you're all going to work together. So I'm so glad to hear that. So thank you so much for your time, Jenessa. Appreciate it. Ruth, I'm going to go back to you, and I just want to pull you in because we haven't heard from you for a while. Anything that you want to add to what Mollie and Jenessa have said, or maybe there's things you've thought of for yourself that you would have liked to have commented on?
Yeah. One of the things that we like to do, too, it starts from the very beginning. It happens with the leadership, with our staff, and with our residents. We do what's called a partnership profile. And it's a couple of pages. It's pretty lengthy. But what it is each of us has an opportunity to put down who we are, what we love, what we our favorite food, our favorite activities, what our, if we love to read or if we love to dance or whatever it might be, what our interests are, what our careers have been. And every one of our residents, their families or themselves will be filling that out. And that way we can also really cater to the individual and surprise them with their favorite food. And you just see them light up, and you're like, I love this. And or just learning what their activity. Maybe somebody's, a professional artist. We want to take advantage of that. If they've been teaching their whole life, they may still be able to not only paint but teach. And so we want to use their talents and their experience to continue for all of us to grow, because we never stop growing and we're never going to stop being curious. And that's really part of our philosophy, which is understanding the person, really getting a deep understanding, and then being able to talk with them and address them from the things that are meaningful to them. And that in itself, I think, is a game changer.
Yeah, I love how you do that with leveraging talents and likes and their favorites. That's just so important. That makes anybody feel valued at any level. And the things that Artis is doing, you know, uh, these basic concepts are good for all of life, not just memory care, but they're exceptionally important in memory care. When the ability to communicate might not be as easy as it once was, and so knowing those details is very, very important. Well, I thank you for that addition. Mollie,
You're
how
welcome.
about you? Mm-hmm. Oh, go ahead, Ruth.
I was just going to say, quick in here. The other day we were having someone moving in, and I had read her profile, and I happened to realize that she loved Pringles and a certain kind of Pringles and vanilla wafers. So before she moved in, we made sure that we had vanilla wafers and Pringles ready for her in her suite. And the son came and was dropping off some things before she moved in, and he had Pringles.
Oh, we lost her, I think. Ruth, you still there? I'm not sure what happened there. Mollie, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I don't know what happened to Ruth, but we lost her there for a second. Maybe she'll pop back in. So
can you hear me now?
Yes, there she is.
We're back to
Ruth. I wonder what
okay.
that is.
I
Okay,
don't know.
briefly, he was aware that, he hadn't been aware that I had also purchased those food items for her, and he was like, how did you know? I said, we have ways. But he was so touched that we had her favorite snacks.
Yeah. Well, that just means a lot. It just says you get my person, you know them, you care enough. And that is just such a huge thing for a family to feel that. I can't even put it into words because it really truly is one of those priceless things in life that you don't even know you value stuff like that sometimes until it happens, because it's stuff we just kind of take for granted. And really, really important. So great story. Thank you for sharing that. Mollie, how about you? Was there anything else that you wanted to add?
Well, I just kind of wanted to piggyback on what Ruth was talking about, where it's not so like, oh, she likes Pringles, we'll buy Pringles. We actually get together as a team, and we say, what is going to speak to this person that we want them to know how much we care. And, one lady, it wasn't even and this is where we need you just pay attention and you listen. It wasn't on the profile, but the husband had shared with us that, you need to make sure she has her earrings in every day. Otherwise, she's going to have a really bad day. And he didn't write that down anywhere, but we listened. And so as a team, hey, let's make sure she has extra earrings. Let's make sure she has some nice new earrings. And so when she moved in, she had all these new earrings that she could wear and enjoy. And, another person moved, like we just thought, they like nature. Well, guess what? Jana, our marketing director, and Ruth ran out and bought her a nature book, like a beautiful coffee table nature book as a welcome gift. And it's become a point of conversation. So, again, just piggybacking on Ruth and how, you Lori, I'm with you. Person-centered care sounds like it's just a tagline that people throw out, and I'm not sure they follow it. But I can tell you with Artis, it is all about the person. It is all individual. We treat humans. We do human care. We don't do dementia care.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Jenessa, how about you? Anything else that you would like to add in?
Just along the same lines. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
Okay. So along the same lines, as our Director of Life Enrichment is trying to set up the calendar of things to occur, so the programming, she's taking into account each resident's likes, and we're trying to build that in. So, it's not your same old. We really want to be able to try and have those programs that they enjoy, that our resident enjoyed, that they want to participate in. So that partnership profile holds a lot of information and is used by our entire team.
That's wonderful. That is absolutely fantastic. So thank you for adding that in. I want to thank all three of you ladies for joining me on the show today. I just, this jazzes me up because I don't think we talk about the good stuff and the meaningful stuff regarding community living a lot of times and the benefits to it. And, one of the additional benefits, I think, when you have a loved one in a community that really gets your person, who appreciates them, who's there to try to cater to their needs, keep them calm, keep them happy, keep them engaged. It allows us as care partners to be who we are at our core. If we're a husband, a wife, a son, a daughter, a friend, we don't have to worry so much about all the other levels and all the what ifs. We can just get back to our core relationships. And I think sometimes people forget when they're giving care some of the things that they've lost because they haven't allowed others in to assist them who really specialize in this. And that's a really critical piece. Now, if people would like to get a hold of you, Ruth, I've got your website as artisseniorliving.com. Now, that's the main website for all the artist communities in the nation. And from there, they can click on communities and they'll be able to see Minnesota and click on that. Or, if you're in another area.
That is correct.
You can go anywhere there. But I have your email that they can contact you directly if you're interested in the Woodbury, Minnesota location for Artis Senior Living, and that is for Ruth, RHJELM as in Mary, GREN at Artist, and that's ARTIS, and then MGMT.com. And their phone number is 651-493-2840. That's 651-493-2840. And you guys are also on Facebook and I would imagine different social media platforms like the rest of the world. Is that correct, Ruth?
Yes. Artists of Woodbury. You can look for us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and that's what I know.
Okay. Well, and one of the other things that I would like to just state, just because, for me, I'm a speaker, but one of the things that I've really appreciated with artists is, and this is very rare, and I don't think people understand how rare this is, but this company actually pulls in professional speakers on a monthly basis to provide education and support for their families. And not very many companies go to that extreme. They'll tap into local communities and things, but this company pulls people in from all over the place. And that is a huge, to me, differentiator, not just because, then I get an opportunity to speak. It really isn't coming from that angle. It's coming from the angle of a daughter who had a mother who lived in a community, and how much I would have appreciated that, how much I would have valued that, how much it would have pulled me in to be even more of their community and to educate me on what to expect and how I can be better and to understand everybody's roles. And
absolutely. We try to outreach to. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say we outreach to the greater community because we want to be a resource to families at any stage of their loved one's illness or journey on dementia. So if they're not even at a point where they would need any kind of care, how can we be of service to folks that are just beginning to experience it and give them resources and information they can really use even when they're still home.
Exactly. And that's wonderful. And I know in September you guys are going to be starting a memory cafe as well and things. So look out for artists. They're doing wonderful things. Get a tour, give them a call, chat, learn ahead of time what is available to you because it is amazing the differences. And with that, we're going to go ahead and close out. Again, thank you, ladies, for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
Thank you,
opportunity.
Thank you. And you can always go to alzheimerspeaks.com. That's our main website for more information. We're way more than just a radio show. We have dementia chats, which are videos where I facilitate a conversation with people with dementia, and they tell us what they want and more. Have a blessed week, everyone. Bye now.
Hi, everyone. This is Meredith from the Senior Fitness with Meredith podcast, where I discuss all things for seniors, from fitness, your health and wellness journeys, how to be all over strong and beyond. I also have my mini podcast called Motivation with Meredith. It's a great, quick motivational pick-me-up for your days. Join me, listen now, search for Senior Fitness with Meredith on your favorite podcast platform.